Dr. Kanika Cunningham, we thank you, AFT Missouri, for sitting down and talking with us just about how we can support and be more educated when it comes to spaces in health.
Yeah.
We all know a lot of us don't pay attention to those particular spaces, and we don't know how to vote, where to go, how to move, and what best helps us. So we thank you for talking to the people. We thank you for talking to the community. Lavette and myself, we just have a few questions that we would like to address. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah. Yep. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. I've seen multiple times where our elected officials, and I'm just going to be as honest as I can, where they over talking, kind of reminded me of the middle school students I serve, just having no respect for you as an adult and as the director.
Yes.
They want to talk about you, but then they don't want to hear from you. That's another problem.
Correct.
So how does these political attacks, not just as a director, but a constituent and as a village for the community, affect you? But before you answer, I do know a few weeks ago, the county council and the
County executive.
I'm gonna go back, because can't you take that back? Can I start that over? Yeah, thanks. God is good. I know a few weeks ago, the community, nope.
Take 85 already. Take 85.
I know a few weeks ago, the county council and
County executive.
Jesus. Oh, it's on my paper. I'm sorry. I know a few weeks ago, the county council was going back and forth with the county executive. Mm-hmm. See, our news is sometimes bought and paid for, so they're not going to always tell the truth. Can you please elaborate on that particular situation?
Yeah, that was the one with the corrections medicine funding. And that was actually a well-attended council meeting. So what happened, right, the news showed the part of it with them two getting into it. But the background story, there was the county council was talking about me and saying, well, she didn't do this. We don't have all the information we need from Dr. Cunningham to make a decision to pass the funding for the corrections medicine contract for our nurses. So that was the big fallout, was that they cut my budget too short, didn't have enough funding to maintain nurses at the jail. So I put forth some legislation for them to restore the funding so that we can keep our contracted nurses at the jail, seeing patients. We're talking about over 1,200 people at the jail. And I was sitting in the audience and they didn't know I was there. So they were talking like they normally do. She didn't do this, she didn't do that. And the people started saying, she's here, let her speak. So I get up to approach the podium and I am stopped by the police captain. And the police captain was really nice. But I'm stopped because the chair says, she didn't want to recognize me. I can't speak. You sit there.
Who's the chair?
Councilman Days. She's the chair.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so I can't walk up until she acknowledges me. Now, I will say in other council meetings, they call up department directors. If we're down there, they call you up. So this whole show, you could have let me speak. They wanted to say it was violating sunshine law. It wasn't. They have rules around it. You could have let me talk and we could have got this bill passed. So on the video, you see me walking away, people get upset. And so the county executive comes to the microphone to request the chair to allow me the opportunity to speak so I can answer any outstanding questions they have about this bill so we can get the bill passed. And she didn't want to do it. And the people got upset. So they ended up clearing out the chambers. Everybody got kicked out, if you want to say it like this. They cleared the chambers, locked it down.
So messy.
And then you will see them going back and forth. But it originated because the county executive wanted them to let me speak and she wouldn't let me talk. So that was the background with that. And again, we could have passed that bill that night. Another thing they said during that time was, they have to go through their process. And they can suspend the rules at any meeting to pass a bill. Mm-hmm. So there was no reason to put in all these delays. They kept saying I didn't give them information. I didn't meet with them, but I was there during the meeting. I was ready to talk to you to answer any remaining questions that you had. I sent emails over to them, but the fact that you didn't let me talk, that was an issue. And then you went on with your political business with this, but that is what happened. The county executive wanted her to let me speak. So that is what originated the back and forth. And the news just showed them two going at it. But that's what that was all about, that she wouldn't let me speak. And he was advocating for me to speak so that we can get this bill passed, so we can have our nurses funded at the jail.
That makes sense. Thank you for wanting to speak up. Thank you for wanting to be that voice to make sure that all those support areas inside the health centers and departments are supported.
Yeah, and I think just one other thing too, with the health department, we provide the medical care at the jail, and some people don't know, some people don't know that, but we're talking about, it's unfortunate, we're talking about a majority Black male population. It's about 75 to 80% Black men, and majority of the residents there come from North County. So, and when I say majority, you're talking about 90%. So we are fighting about a healthcare access issue with the most vulnerable in our community. And I was asking for $2.8 million. Now, mind you, the NFL settlement fund has $100 million in there. My fund, I actually returned money back to the health department fund where you could have used my remaining balance. So they have something that's called unappropriated balance. I can't act on my money unless I get permission from them. So the proposal, they end up using the health fund to fund this, but I needed their permission. That's what it came down to. I need their permission to use the money. And the money was there. So it wasn't an argument about no money available. It wasn't an argument that I didn't give you all the information. And it was no sense of urgency or prioritizing this cause because of the people that we're serving. So many times I've seen this county council disregard and neglect those from North County.
Well, we fighting for North County, baby.
Yes, me too. That's where I'm
North
from.
County.
I know that. I'm from North County.
Okay.
I'm from North County. Yep.
North County is on
That's
the ballot. Thank you once again for being that voice and for coming into space and actually talking to us so that the people can actually understand what's going on. I do want to ask you another question. There are many health care barriers. Can you provide 2 examples when politics interfered with these barriers that affects our community?
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things for me as a physician because I care about, all people. I care about disparities, health inequities. I don't like when politics interfere with it, and especially when you have elected officials who don't have a healthcare background. One of the department directors said it best: none of them meet the minimum qualifications to do our jobs. But yet you want to tell us how to do our jobs. So the one example I can think of that was also recent. So before the county can enter into any contract, it requires the approval of the county council. Now, before you even start contract, trying to go out for bid, get a contractor, it requires their approval to even start this whole process. So one of my bills, it was to fund physicians in my outpatient clinics. So the health department, we have 3 outpatient clinics, 2 in North County, 1 in South County. And it was to fund physicians for my outpatient clinics. And I've been vocal about the county council. They want us to close the health centers. That's what they want. They changed their narrative when I, really started talking about it, but they want to close the health centers. They think people can rely on urgent care. That is what the comments that was said. So we went through the whole process, competitive bidding process, follow all the county processes. And so now the contract is before them to approve. It sat with them for 11 months. I had to get 2 emergency extensions so people wouldn't lose access to their health care. And they passed it, like I said, that 11th month. So this was June of last year when this legislation was put before them. And mind you, they approved the department to go out to do it. I had money available to go out to do it. This was the final last step for them to approve it so we can move forward. And they held it. And I actually learned from a reporter that they said they held it because they thought I worked for SSM. But you could have asked me that 11 months ago if that was the case.
Yeah.
But you held it and then you passed it at the last minute. Now, like I said, if we didn't have an option to do emergency extensions, I did have to notify all the patients what was taking place. And truly, we didn't have, what would have happened, we would have had to close potentially that site. This would have been a South County site. We would have had to try to move people to North County. But the people who live in South County, we would have had to facilitate a patient transfer. And I think what they don't understand is, health centers, we serve the most vulnerable. They can't go to Mercy, SSM beaches. They can't go to private places. Now, we accept private insurance, but there's a reason why we exist in St. Louis County. So cutting off somebody's access. I mean, you're talking about people who've been patients of ours for 15, 20 years, families, generations. The health department, our health centers, it isn't new. I actually came here before to get seen. So it isn't new. We are a staple, a pillar in the community, but the county council don't feel that. So they held it. I sent over about 4 emails advocating. I asked to meet with them. I did all of that, and it sat there. And then they finally passed it. It was it was June. Yeah, June of this, May or June of this year. They passed. It was 11 months. They held it. Yep. So that was one thing. It was no rhyme or reason. It was, they just didn't want to. I know, again, they were not against, they were against keeping the health centers open. I think a lot of community members did speak out to get them to see that, hey, these health centers are important. They are a critical piece to healthcare in St. Louis County and even for the region. So that was one example that for me, that was just straight political. And the other thing too, the county executive, they did a whole ethics committee because they accused him of working for SSM. And he doesn't have anything to do with these contracts. He doesn't have anything to do with what my department do with following our processes. But again, instead of asking a question, you don't want me to talk, and you go off of your own narrative. You believe what you want to believe. There's no fact checking of this. So yes, people would have been harmed. They would have lost access to their physicians.
And we just want to be clear. Everything that we're talking about today has been fact checked. And you all will be able to check those facts on your own.
Bill number 156. Somebody can go to the county council site. You can look and see when it was approved. Introduce bill number 156.
Which brings me to my next.
Oh, I didn't give you the second example. You want the second example?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
How about that? You said,
come on. Yeah.
Well, the other was the corrections medicine one, what I was just talking about. So
for the jail?
For the jail. Yeah, that was the nurses. And they cut the budget too short. They said they would not. I had to send the request for legislation in April because they told all department directors they would not entertain any supplemental transfer requests until we're out of the first quarter. So the beginning of April, I sent over legislation to request funding to keep the contract with the jail. So they cut us about $2.8 million short. And I sent emails. The previous jail director sent a letter of support. The council chair actually withheld it from the public agenda, so it did not make the public. The county executive also sent a letter asking them to pass this bill. That was the beginning of June. That did not make the public agenda. The council chair held that off. I sent multiple emails and answered all their questions. And what this came down to, they actually said that I didn't attend a meeting or something. And I'm like, what happened with that? You put the meeting on my calendar and then you canceled the meeting, and then you had an open forum to say I didn't show to the meeting that I didn't even know that I was supposed to show up. Didn't even know. They just put the meeting on my calendar and then canceled the meeting, and then went on and said that I didn't show up to the meeting. But they had all the information. I do want to recognize Councilwoman Clancy, because when this was going on, Councilwoman Clancy, she held them accountable and said, Dr. Cunningham sent us all the information we need to make this decision. And she's like, I am not supporting this narrative because she sent us everything. She was the only one that stood up and told the truth, because I did. It's emails. I mean, and that's all in emails. I sent everything over. What I think they wanted to do, I mean, actually, I can't even think for them, because it actually just didn't make sense. It really didn't. So that was the other example. And it took a lot of community support. I had to get the new jail director involved. And actually, the police department came out and supported me 100%. All of the police chiefs in St. Louis County wrote a really strong letter to support for them to pass this bill. The hospital systems stepped up to support. Community advocates stepped up to support. So it wasn't me. It took everybody else to get their attention about how critical this was. But that was the other example. It was straight politics. And they admitted, it was a press conference that was held and I was there. They admitted that, this was some differences. And I had to say, no, leave me out of it. This was not, don't make this a personal matter. This was a poor decision on the county council. That whatever it was, we need to know how to get through personalities and take care of the people in St. Louis County. Yeah, so that was the second example.
I love that. And I thank you. I thank the community for stepping up, for coming together to support. Because sometimes that's what they have to take. Because some of these elected officials could care less about the underserved and overprivileged. Underprivileged, let me say that. I'm sorry.
100% correct.
So this brings me to my last question for now. I was going back and forth with the county council attorney on Facebook. This lady is commenting on Black and brown news platform where people that look like me in the communities that we serve and that she's clearly supposed to serve pay attention to. And she's the only person that comments. I don't know how this came down my timeline, but it was meant. And I'm glad it did because it brought us to this table. So let's go through these comments. Eventually, y'all, she told me that I needed to read, but we're gonna talk about that later. But she said basically to tell us to go somewhere else. In her statement, she used specifically use other options, quote unquote. So she also specifically, I made sure that I quoted her exactly how she said her nice words. I'll come back to the quotes. So I said, I can't seem to understand when we try to support the underprivileged and most vulnerable areas, folks like you come and talking about we can go somewhere else. In quotations, in parentheses, use other options. Now that's some hating ass nerve. Sorry about my language, but I'm just being real. You go somewhere else. You find another job option. You should be supporting instead of supporting anything that's going to help kick the people while they're down. A lot of our elected officials like to kick people while they're down. And I'm over it. So I said, then to say someone is being manipulative, show your receipts. Show how you're helping support the underprivileged. We need our clinics. We need our healthcare centers. Too many of everything is getting closed down. There are not many options. This post is personal for you clearly and also personal for the community. Like, how dare you in your position even comment like this? Whoever is helping you to hurt our communities this way also don't have the best interests at heart. I'm so grateful she came back. Thank you, Miss Mary Elizabeth. She told me maybe I should actually read what she said before going on some triad. I don't need to show you receipts. Just pull their budget. Speaking of budget, let me write that down so we can talk about that. It's online. I worked in that system 24 years and watched the money wasted on clinics who didn't have any patients while the staffing in the jail was inadequate for the most vulnerable people in our society. You don't even make sense, so maybe sit this one out. I said, I read it, and you said we can use other options. That literally means go somewhere else. Not sitting anything out that takes away from our underprivileged communities. And I told her I would see her soon. My last thing, she said, cut back on hours. The two things she said, that they can cut back on hours and that the customers, the clients can go somewhere else. So that literally means folks will lose their income. Maybe you should also read what you wrote. You don't need to show me anything, but when you come for people in underprivileged Black and brown areas, you should have receipts. So Mary Elizabeth, I just want to tell you, next time you come for somebody on that type of platform, we need you to have some receipts. All right, so I'm going to move on over and I'll come back and talk to you in a little bit. We're going to let Miss Lavette Thomas, AFT Missouri's outreach coordinator, have some discussions with you. She's very supportive and energetic about so many other things. So I'm so excited that she's here to speak with you.
I'm enjoying this. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to sit next to you. Well, my first question, under your leadership, I know there is a congratulations in order. So regarding that health center, can you give us some information on that?
I can, yes. And this has been a political fight, but let's set that aside. So last year, the health centers received a federal designation. It's something that is the first ever in the county. And when I was recruited, that was one thing I was asked, like, will I be able to get this done? So I was recruited from FQHC. And I'm like, yeah, we can do this. And I mean, it does take somebody to understand the federal language, what you need to put in place. And so last year we received that designation, and it actually was a way to save the health centers. So when I joined, one of the biggest arguments was the health centers, losing money. And in St. Louis County, actually, the taxpayers actually fund the health department. It's a little bit different from other areas. So I don't want the county council to close the clinics. And this was the last shot. If we, if we didn't get this, they were probably going to close the clinics. Because matter of fact, actually 1 year, budget season year, we put in a request. We wanted to be able to bring on a consultant to really help us. There's a few things that we need some extra support with to really be able to increase our reimbursement. I don't want to get too technical here, but they actually told us they wouldn't give us the extra money until we get the designation approval. And we got the approval, still didn't get the extra money, but we still made it through. There's some things we still need to do. So what that means to the community is that because of this designation, we're now in a position to increase our revenue to save our clinics. So therefore, we don't have to close the clinics. This argument about closing the clinics, that can go away because now we're going in the right direction financially to be able to maintain access to healthcare for people who utilize our services in St. Louis County. We even have people from St. Louis City to come over and use our health clinics, but we will be able to stay.
Okay. You kind of answered my second question a little bit. I wanted you to go more in detail.
Okay.
Because for my understanding, what you did bring more money to the health centers. And I want you to tell me a little bit more detail on who exactly did it help.
Right. So it helps the people that we serve. So we got 2 clinics sitting in North County and we got 1 that sit in South County. And getting a designation, so it's estimated to generate an additional 10 to 12 million. So the delays that we're seeing, you have to renegotiate your contracts. You get higher reimbursement. So it's not her 10 million. It's going to come when you do your billing and then from working with the federal government. So we're in the process of doing that and have seen some hiccups. But overall, I would say give it about 2 or 3 years that we're going to be in the positive. Now, I will say when I started in 23, the first time that the health centers even generated any positive revenue was in 2023 when I started. So that was the first time in 10 years that we brought in 2.5 million. We're continuing to move up. So that's why I say, you got to have the right people in places and training and education in place. Now with this designation, you're going to see that we can generate additional revenue. So it's a way to save the clinics.
That's truly amazing, Dr. Cunningham.
Thank you.
We really do appreciate your work.
Thank you.
So I have one more question that I know is dear to people in St. Louis. So I've been looking, I'll ask you this question. Does the county council support the animal shelters? Because a lot of buzz has been going around about the animals. And I know how people in Missouri feel about our animals. So
yeah, that's I thought we can do a whole talk on that one. So the animal shelter, unfortunately, in the county has also been like a political fire. So just to be flat out, just straight honest, the county council and myself, we disagree on one fundamental difference. I am not killing healthy animals. And the way the health department was ran before, so the animal shelter sits under the health department. Animal care and control, dog catchers. It was, the idea, the philosophy behind providing animal care services, I changed it. They don't agree with my philosophy. And my philosophy is we're going to care for every animal that's in our care. For me, I'm a physician. The same way when I go and see a patient working at the hospitals, no matter who's before me, you're going to get the same access to me and quality of care to take care of you. It's the same type of principle at the animal shelter. If our duty is to care for animals that come into our shelter, whether it's a dangerous dog case, cruelty case, when we have animals get hit by cars, it's the same concept. And if we can increase live outcomes, getting them out of our facility healthy into a loving family, that's my goal. Well, for them, the county council, they want me to euthanize. And they, if we get overpopulated, for them, euthanizing is a tool. Euthanizing means kill. They want me to literally kill the cats and dogs in my care instead of optimizing outcomes. So some things that I've done for the shelter, I did launch the very first foster program in the county. I've been really pushing to get more foster families. So that's perfect for somebody who maybe you kind of want to get a feel for being a pet owner. There are some people who do like temporary foster, like every 3 months, just to get one of our animals out of the shelter. Any time out is the best time for them. them, because the longer they stay, their quality of life, it does decline. And so, and even with our team, my animal control officers, when you see them out, I'm trying to rebrand them. They're not just dog catchers, but if you see them with the public health logo on there, they have food on their trucks. We got leashes. We have bowls. We're going to start putting flea and tick medicine on there. But they are truly there to support the community. And like I told them, that if we find a lost dog, we need to do our due diligence to return that dog to his owner before bringing them into the shelter. And that's knocking on doors. And like I said, this neighbor may know who dog that is, but we don't. But, talk, build that relationship with the community. But the biggest fundamental difference is because I will not euthanize healthy dogs. I want to optimize healthy outcomes. And that is where the council and myself actually veered, because I'm not doing that. Yep, and I've stood firm on that, and as a result, they've increased fees so they can put barriers in with adoption. So our adoption fees was $40; they raised it by $80, and even then, when I was working with them, like, hey, let's just do $60 instead of doubling the fees. Now we are the lowest, I would say, in the region, but going from 40 to 80, like, come on, it's going to put a barrier in there. And a lot of animal shelters, when you're overpopulated, you actually waive animal fees. And there's a lot of myths around, well, there's bad adopters, there's this. There's still a vetting process. Like my team, we engage with, when you coming in, what kind of dog you looking for? There are people who come because they want a companion. They want, so it's not just a sign of paper and you get a dog. No, we're really engaging to find out,
what's best for you.
Right, what's best for you. Let's get the right match. And we still go through our entire, background check, all of that stuff we have to do. But for me, it's optimizing live outcomes. And again, I've been standing firm. I'm not killing a healthy animal. I'm not doing it.
We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to close it out. But after I close it out, thank you. After I close us out, I'm going to ask you one last question.
Uh-oh.
I know, right? It's my place to stay in this kind of trouble. So, as an elected, I can't do it. I'm going to hold it. I'm not as savvy as our Gen Z kids are. As an elected official, I know that it's my duty to serve and to support in the spaces that you're in, not only for the workers, right? Because I'm sure you all have been in multiple contract negotiations, not for just the workers, but for me, like this, one of your health centers is where I have to send my family and myself every time that we lose a birth certificate every other day. I have psoriasis. Like sometimes I can't get somewhere in South County that's 45 minutes away. Our people don't have vehicles, like transportation. Some of them are sick, are barely walking to get on the bus to make it to the health center that's in their area. But they want to close it because it's underserved so that the people that are already making money can get money. But I'm going to digress. I'm going to get back to my question. So the question is, as a non-elected official, as a director, how do you feel in these spaces? Like this I can't imagine being in your position because I'm always advocating, whether I'm cussing, fussing, loving, smiling, or crying. I have to do that. In your space, you have to advocate for your workers, but all the other things that you do, it's not under your job duty. We appreciate you for being a normal human.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for seeing it. No, thank you for seeing it.
Yeah.
It's for me, the power struggle and understand it, and it's the hunger to get power. That's what I'm really seeing. It's you do any and everything you can just to maintain power, to stay in power, to belittle somebody else's power. There's not a respect. It's and I'm going to be honest. The county council, they have full authority of the St. Louis County budget. And it's weaponized at times. Again, you hold legislation to try to get department directors to do what you want them to do. You, they say, let's do a committee of the whole because I don't have the information, but you didn't read the email that was sent over. The fight to maintain power, I think I've seen that is so bad with the current county council that at what point do you set aside that to care for the people that voted for you? I've seen so many times that voting does not, that you vote in a way that's self-centered versus voting in a way that's going to support the community. Holding a healthcare contract. You all don't utilize our clinics, but the people that voted you do. Their families do. Did you think about them? Everything else I do with the health department. So it's at what point will you, set aside the political games and political fighting and to stop and say, you know what, wait a minute, I'm hurting people now. Let me backtrack. But it's not like that. It's the grab for power. It's I'm seeing that I don't know where it really to stop. I really don't. I know that there's a push to get me to resign. There's a push to get me to quit. A lot of my employees know that. People in the community see that. And again, I'm not an elected official. I'm appointed. I'm a physician. And, I came to this role because I care about the people. I care about the mission. Like I told people, I took a significant pay cut. I didn't come here for the money. I came here for the opportunity to be able to improve delivery of services to our community. And majority of my services at the health department serve North County. My department is the only department in county government that serves the entire county, all 1 million people, not just unincorporated. And the majority of my services, a lot goes into North County because that's where we see a lot of disparities, the inequities. That's where we see a lot of the healthcare challenges that we need to address. So it's just, when is it a meaningless fight? Stop and ask yourself, are you hurting the people that voted for you? Yep.
Mm-hmm. I thank you for that. And I got some thanks I got to give before I close on out. My first thank you for doing what you could do to save our health centers, increasing revenue, maintaining access to their health care. Thank you for advocating for the most vulnerable.
Thank you.
Thank you for being the person that can be in this space first time in 10 years, increasing the budget. Did you say over $2 million?
The first time we generated 2.5 million. So now you see that revenue line going up.
That's great.
Yeah.
We love to see it in the green because there's so many of us in our home spaces and in our lives who are in the red. Mm-hmm. We appreciate the health budget and that support systems being in the green. Another 2 more thank yous. You just awesome. Thank you for helping to keep our jails, our physicians, and all other spaces and health centers supported. Our animals healthy and alive, and not avoiding the community, but always ready to answer all the concerns. A lot of us we act like we're going to do so much, and we're so visible. We're only visible when we want to elect. We're only visible when we want to be elected. After we elected, we come up missing. Then when it's time for elections again, I did so much. Oh, look at me, look at me. So thank you for in the midst of the process still being a sound mind for the community.
Thank you.
So I want to send an action call out to the community. There are I love everybody. There are county council meetings every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. at Clayton, 41 South Central Avenue. Know these folks who y'all voting for. Speak up and know that your voice matters, you matter. And these are the times where you have to support people like Dr. Cunningham when they're trying to tell her to not speak up, when they're asking questions that clearly she can answer. You have to be in those spaces to be that support and to just make sure that you are electing people that will support the spaces that you and your family and community live in. My last thing is we need county council that prioritize the people over profits and over selfishness. It's not about y'all. It's about we, the people. You are conversing with President CeeJay Johnson of American Federation of Teachers, and I have this lovely young lady with me. We did not introduce ourselves, so I will let her introduce herself.
I forgot about that. I am Dr. Kanika Cunningham. I am the St. Louis County Department of Public Health Director, and I am here to serve my community.
Yes, amen. That's great. Thank you so much. Once again, whatever you need us to do, we fight. I keep tennis shoes on no matter what suit, dress, whatever I need. I keep tennis shoes on because I'm here for the fight. Thank you again, and we will be talking to you soon.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.